What I relish about our discussions is, of course, I come at it from the AI perspective, and you come at it from the data governance perspective. So I'm really interested to ask you about best practices. So to start off specifically, is the best practice to drive it from the AI use case and make sure you have data governance to fit within that, or start on the data governance side, build out the AI use case, or something maybe in the middle?
I like, I mean, this might sound like a cliched answer, but I think somewhere in the middle is where I tend to lean into, primarily because building a data governance foundation can be cumbersome. It can take time, it can take efforts, and you're not going to see, an aha moment in 2 to 3 months. That's the nature of the beast. For those institutions that have already invested in it, like the largest of the large banks, they are able to leverage their data foundations, the governance foundations, to be able to leapfrog into, AI use cases a lot faster than others. But that foundation takes time to build, and you don't want to wait completely until that foundation is built. And therefore, I would try to lean in on going hand in hand with a small project in place. Like they always say, start small, and it's preferably centralized because this is a very nascent technology, and the technology in itself is not going to change the operating model that I talked about. New operating models have to be built within organizations, and they're generally efficiently built by smaller teams initially for the first few months or years, and then expanding into larger groups. So start small, start with a central group that can find the biggest bang for buck in terms of the AI use cases, and then work with your chief data officer and a small group to build a data governance foundation that can meet those use cases. And then that in itself will teach the larger group and the organization where the breaking pieces of the puzzle are, or what changes to operating environments are needed, and then they can slowly expand upon that using their CIO to build a technology framework, and the COO to build an operating framework that can expand over a period of time in concentric circles. Think of how London was built, right? Central London is the most expensive real estate probably on earth, but it's also the most sought after. It's of most value, right? And London is built in concentric circles, zone 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's how I envision organizations thinking about their AI foundations. To start small, start with a very small core, get that core right, make sure that the core is valuable. People will gravitate to the core, and have an incentive across the organization to build that core to more and more peripheral areas. And in a short period of time, you'll see egalitarian adoption of some of those practices and technologies.